I'm going all in. Getting flew out, yeah, you can bring a friend. Dive right in, let's go. Do more than dip in your toe. Let the rhythm take control. It's going down tonight, yeah. Dive right in, let's go. Do more than dip in.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Dayne from NyynewsTV. This is the Heat Sheet Podcast. Carlos is my co-host. Carlos, how you doing today?
Good. How you doing, Dayne?
Good. So we had some good news this week. We had a couple up and down performances. Going to talk about a little bit, talk about the High-A rotation a little bit, why that's so special, and go from there. What'd you see in AAA?
AAA, pretty much Carlos Narvaez was the only performance worth noting. He had 286, 387, home run, 2 RBIs. Florial continues to hit. He had a 904 OPS this week, 3 extra base hits, a home run, 4 RBIs. And the story of the week probably there would have to be where's Peraza. And I saw that he had been out sick, something about a bug going around the clubhouse. So he was kept out of the lineup for the weekend.
Yeah, he didn't play from Friday on, right?
Don't remember Friday, but I know Saturday and Sunday for sure that he didn't play. That's what I read. And I know he fouled the ball off of his knee. And then coupled that with him being sick, that's probably why they just kept him out of the lineup.
Okay. You want to go to AA? Wasn't much positive in AAA this week.
Yeah, not much happened at AAA this week.
Okay. Let's go to AA.
I think if you go to AA, the main story at AA has to be Clayton Beater's 2 games last week. He's on a streak right now. Last week he went 2 games, 11 innings, 11 shutout innings, and 17 strikeouts, just 4 walks, which is a plus from him. It's something that you want to see.
Yeah, it is. He's got to be the next guy bumped up, don't you think?
He's pitching like it. I mean, I was looking over his last 4 games. Over his last 4 games, he's got 23 and a third scoreless innings, 31 strikeouts. And he hasn't allowed a run in his last 4 starts.
Wow. And his ERA is down to the low 2s, right? 2.13.
2.13, 1.27 whip, and I believe he's 5-2 now.
Now, we've talked about this before, but I have a concern with him that his success this year might have to do with the tacky ball. We've seen Will Warren go up and struggle to adjust to the AAA ball. He hasn't pitched like he has in AA. Are you concerned about any of that with Beater?
I mean, I think you would have to be, because even Randy Vasquez has mentioned the same thing. He said early on that he did struggle to adjust to the ball at AAA. So, I mean, it's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah. I just want to see him put up the same kind of numbers without the tacky ball before I say, oh boy, he's going to be in the rotation next year.
I mean, but this is something that I think for me, the Beater thing is that you want to see the steady progression of him since he's come over from the Dodgers. You know, he's pitching at least 5+ innings, I think, over the last few games now. And well, in the last 2
and
starts,
before he came here, he'd never even gotten past 4 innings, had he? Like 4.2 was the most he'd ever pitched.
Well, with the Dodgers, he was mostly used as an opener, so he wasn't really getting much more than 2, maybe 3 innings at a time.
Right. How's his new changeup look?
I mean, everything about him is looking really good for me. As you know, he's probably my favorite pitcher down there at AA. I'm really impressed by the run that he's on right now, and it can't be much longer before we see him at Scranton. No,
he needs to bump up, because the guys below him need to come up really quick.
Absolutely.
But we'll wait on that one, guys.
Yeah.
What else at AA?
You also had Richard Fitz, who's also on a nice run. June, he's pitching to. In June, he seems to be really turning it around. In June, he's pitching to a 1.93 ERA. Over his last 14 innings, he's allowed just 3 runs, 3 walks, 16 strikeouts. And all 4 of his last starts are all quality starts. And he's gone 6+ innings in all of those starts as well.
He's turning it around. He looks real. I read the fastball velocity.
I was concerned at the the first month or so. He kind of didn't look the same as he did at Hudson.
No, he hasn't. He was so good at Hudson last year.
Yeah.
And he just hasn't looked the same this year. But the last couple of weeks,
Yeah,
he's getting a
he seems to be
lot
picking
better.
it up. Absolutely, seems a lot better. Yeah.
What else is going on in Double A?
Yoandry Gomez, another 3 innings from him. So far, hasn't allowed a run yet.
No.
He's pitching to a .81 whip, almost 9 innings, 9 strikeouts, 148 average against. So, I mean, he's looking on the plus, on the rise up. So, hopefully, it won't be soon before they remove him from the 3 inning caps that they have him on.
Yeah, they did that with a lot with him last year. I just want to
Yep.
see this kid stay on the mound. He's so talented, and he just has never been able to stay healthy. And we've talked about how long he's been on the 40-man. I mean, the Yankees believe in this guy to keep him around that long. And I just want to see him healthy. He looked great in spring training.
He did. I actually, I did believe that he might actually at some point make it to the Bronx this season, but doing the setback that he had early on and just coming back now, I'm not so sure about it now.
No, I'm not sure about it now, but I think if he would have been healthy to start the year, he probably gets the call over Brito.
That's possible. I could see that.
Yeah.
I could have seen that.
Now, on the hitting side at Double A, we had Sweeney.
You had Sweeney, who hit 296 this week, which is is encouraging. 4 extra base hits, 811 OPS, which is a plus from him. He had been struggling for a while there, so maybe that's a sign of things starting to turn around for him.
Yeah, his power seems to be down this year.
It does, right? For a guy that hit 16 home runs last season, you start to wonder what happened. When is that power going to come back, or what's changed?
But he's still hitting a lot of doubles. He's got double-digit doubles, and
well, he's got 16 extra base hits. He is stealing bases, and he's walking more than he did last season. I think right now he's at a 361 OPS or OBP.
Maybe trying to take walks more, and that's why.
I mean, that could be it. I was actually looking at his June numbers. His walks, they're okay. He's hitting 261 for the month, which is an improvement from last month. 5 extra base hits and a home run. So, I mean, like I said, he's making a lot more contact, getting on base a lot more. So we'll see. We'll see how much he improves overall.
Okay. How did Jason do this week?
Jason this week, not that good.
It just wasn't a good week for him.
No, it wasn't a good week for him. I'm trying to look over I was looking at his splits actually, and he's hitting 250 right-handed, 199 left-handed, but we know why he's seeing a lot more right-handed pitching.
Yes. I don't know.
And the other guy that I did want to talk about at Double A was Aaron Polensky.
Yeah.
I know he had a monster. He was having a monster season at Hudson Valley. He finally got the promotion.
He was.
He seems to be turning it around. Last week he hit 3. Well, I'm sorry that he's making the adjustments necessary at Double A. Last week he hit 333, 1324 OPS, 3 extra base hits, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, 3 walks. So, I know you've asked in the past, how for real is Polensky, and I guess he's showing us a bit more.
Yeah, I really want to see him more through this year because he's leading the organization in home runs. He's top 5 in batting average, top 5 in OPS. He's having a great season, and he's stealing bases too. He's
at 14 stolen bases for the season.
Yeah, and he's showing up in all the offensive categories. You just got to wonder when this is real. I mean, is he a real legitimate prospect that his numbers show?
I'm going to tell you the same thing I told you last week. I'm not sure. I still need to see a little bit more of it. But meanwhile, he's showing the rest of the league that he is serious, that he is to be taken as a serious prospect.
Yeah, he is. You can't overlook what he's done this year and keep him out of the Yankees' top 20 picks or whatever. He is been really good this year.
He has been.
Do you think he gets to AAA?
it would depend on moves, because you know how the Yankees operate, right? Something has to happen at the top for something to happen behind that. And being that Brandon Lockridge was just promoted, I'm not so sure. They would have to be another move to correspond that.
Yeah, I think that they'll probably clear out some outfielders around the trade deadline.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and that's actually, now that you mentioned that, that's one thing that I did want to talk about. So, I mean, going back to Scranton, where they have Carlos Narvaez, who's playing well, probably the best that he has played in his career. And they also have Ben Rortvedt, who was the guy that they traded for, thinking that he was going to be their starter last season. What are you doing with Duran?
You got to move him. If you can get something.
Duran is he's been in the system now for over 2 years. He's having a career year. Why not try to move him to somewhere where he can get more playing time, and you can actually cash in on some, on a reclamation project who's having a career season right now.
Yeah, I think Duran goes somewhere. He's an elite defensive catcher. We saw that in spring training. And he's hitting, for power. He's hitting. Right. I mean, his OPS was over 1,000 earlier in the year. I
mean, like I said, it to me, it makes sense to make a move with him now. Other organizations would love to take on another catcher who could potentially just come in right now and start for them. It makes sense.
It does. It really does. I think you got to get an arm, a AAA arm, something, a bullpen piece for him, but somebody can use him at the major league level.
Yep.
So what else in AA did we want to?
For AA, that's pretty much it. Well, Jason Rosario for me was the prospect of the week down there. He had 368, 458, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. He did get tossed from yesterday's game. I think he was arguing balls and strikes, but to me, he probably was the prospect of the week down there.
Yeah, he had a really good week. It was a fun week to watch then.
I like that stadium. You had a couple guys. Actually, now that I recall, TJ Rumfield hit 4 home runs, absolute bombs. I think 2 were out of the park. Jason Dominguez as well hit 1 out of the park.
They left the stadium.
Yeah.
For people who haven't seen those, these balls leave that AA stadium and get out. That Dominguez home run was a shot.
Yeah, it just disappeared into the night. The same thing for TJ Rumfield, his last home run. And oddly enough, Rumfield, he had 4 hits last week. All 4 were home runs.
Yeah. He's actually upped his power quite a bit this year.
One thing about Rumfield, though, that I think coming into the season, he had a career high of 4 home runs. He hit 4 home runs last week. So that's one thing to keep an eye out, is just how much the power has been developing within his bat.
Do you see any Greg Bird in him?
I've seen some people mention that. For a while, I thought more of John Olerud, but I could see the Bird.
I think it's somewhere in between, probably. So, can we go to Hudson or High-A, please?
At Hudson Valley. I mean, I think the story has to be the pitching down there. I mean, before I even get to how good the starting pitching was, let me just mention really briefly. The bullpen didn't allow a single run in that series all week.
Yeah, nothing.
No, didn't allow. I think the bullpen pitched like 16 in the 3rd innings, didn't allow a single run. But I mean, the story has to be the starting pitching. Drew Thorpe, Chase Hampton, Corella, and Zach Messenger.
Well, let's start in order. We got Messenger, who led off the week.
Messenger was, hold on one second. Messenger was 5 innings, 1 run, 6 strikeouts. And that was just a sign of things to come.
Yeah.
I think followed that up by Juan Corella. He went 5 innings, gave up 3 runs. 2 were in the 1st inning. I think I spoke to him briefly. I don't know if you guys watched that game. I cut a video of it, but
I saw your video.
What happened. I didn't cut what happened. I didn't include what happened in the 1st inning. It looked like he had a fainting spell. So he was down on the mound for about 10, 15 minutes or so. They wanted to pull him out. Yeah, they wanted to pull him out of the game, and he talked himself back into the game. And I spoke to him after the game, and I was like, "What happened to you?" And he told me that he wasn't feeling well, that he was having difficulty breathing before the game started, even in warm-up tosses. And he goes, at some point in the 1st inning, he said he just felt it. and he went down on the mound. So he was down there for about 10, 15 minutes, and he came back. He got back up. He allowed 2 runs in that first inning, and then he just buckled down. I think he allowed 1 more run.
Yeah, he
and
ended
went
up
up to
striking
strike
out 10.
He struck out 10, and I was like, yeah, you should do that more often. And he started
No
laughing about
kidding.
it. But yeah,
That's
that makes
his second
back-to-back
straight
strikeouts.
outing with 10 Ks.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I really have liked him. I think there's more ceiling there.
Yeah, it's probably still a little bit more left for him to tap into. Looking at his June numbers though, 12 and 2/3 innings, 4 earned runs, 20 strikeouts. I mean, he's definitely taken a step forward this year, a huge step forward this year.
Yeah, he has.
And that start was followed up by Chase Hampton. Chase then went 5 and 2/3 shutout innings, 8 strikeouts. Another guy that just keeps mowing him down. Over Chase's last 6 games, he's 33rd and 33 innings, pitching to a 1.90 ERA with 53 strikeouts. And in his last 5 starts, he's gone at least 5 innings.
Yeah, he's just a flat stud.
Yeah, you see, I've told you that Chase. He's my favorite pitcher down there.
He got bumped up. Baseball America has him as our number 1 pitching prospect.
I saw they bumped him up to number 6. I don't even think he was on the list before that.
He wasn't.
Preseason, he wasn't on the list. Now he's at 6, which is pretty incredible jump.
Yeah, 24 spots at least. That's impressive.
Yeah, I just love everything about the guy, man. I can't wait to see more from him.
You really like the way how aggressively he pitches on the mound. He's a bulldog.
I love it. I love the way he just shows that emotion and that attitude after a strikeout. He pumps his fist and pumps his glove. I love pitchers like that. I love pitchers that they go about their business and are excited when they get a big strikeout in the game.
Yeah, and it makes no sense going in the other guy. Chase Hampton's usually the guy that I would have my prospect crush on. And for some reason, this next guy, Drew Thorpe.
I mean, what can you say about his last start? He went 7 shutout innings, just 5 hits, no walks, 12 strikeouts. Absolutely phenomenal. I think the Somerset's like a franchise record for strikeouts in a game. Just phenomenal for him. So for Drew, his last 2 starts is 15 innings, all shutout in, no runs allowed yet, just 2 walks and 19 strikeouts. Absolutely,
and only 5 hits, wasn't it?
6 hits.
6 hits. Okay.
6 hits.
I mean, he's just been flat dominant and that curveball changeup combo that he has reminds me of the Arizona pitcher Zach Eflin. Kind of the same arm slot, same kind of stuff. And the way that his curveball and changeup look, they both have 12-6 kind of movement. And pitchers or hitters are just swinging right over the top of it all the time.
As I watched that game, it looked like a rope-a-dope to me. It was like change up, swing and a miss, swing and a miss, swing and a miss. It was impressive.
Now, do you think he's got the best changeup in the system?
I mean, it's hard to argue that he doesn't. I mean, he's putting up the numbers, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But one guy who's got another.
I would say it's hard to argue with it, but
yeah, I want to see Luis Cernas again, but
but we gotta get him on the mound first.
Yeah, exactly. Who do you think's going up first of those 4?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it has to be between Drew and Chase. That's my thinking.
It really does.
It's one of them. I think it's a 2-man race to me. It's either one of them. I don't know whose slot that is they're going to take up in Somerset because, like you said, I mean, like I told you before, the Yankees one move proceeds another move, so we'll see what happens there.
Well, Beaters should go up.
Yeah, he should.
Yeah, so there should be a slot there. I don't know. We'll see what happens. The Yankees, you try to figure out their promotion schedule, you go absolutely nuts. Now let's touch on some of the hitters there.
Well, you had Anthony Garcia, who had another good week, 294. 365 OBP, an extra base hit, two walks. I mean, he's always been a guy that you just want to see more of because that bat just makes really loud contact.
It does, but the strikeouts.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. That this is a guy that people have always said, I wish he could make a little bit more contact. And since he came back from his injury, he has been making a lot more contact, which is if you're wondering if maybe there was a change that he's made, if we're going to see more of this pattern moving forward, or if eventually he'll just regress right back to who he sometimes can be, which is the 3 outcome guy, right? Home run, strikeout, or walk.
He is seriously the best example of the 3 true outcomes that I've seen at that level.
I mean, for me, I've prospect wise, I've never seen anything like it.
No,
I've never seen anything like it.
No.
The other guy we could bring up is Antonio Gomez. He had another good week. He's having a good June, from what I recall.
He is. He struggled in last month.
He was struggling. He was struggling, period. But in June, he's hitting 435 to a 1239 OPS, 5 extra base hits and a home run.
Are you a little bit surprised that we're not seeing more home run power from him yet?
I mean, at this point, I just wanted to see more contact from him because he had been struggling for so long. I think he was somewhere around the Mendoza line, and he was a guy that came up with a reputation of being a defensive catcher who just
absolutely
the bat had to match the defense at some point, and you weren't getting any of that. He started off well. He started off well.
The defense.
Yeah.
He was just having a bad year, and he's really. I was really impressed with him this last couple of weeks. He's been hitting a lot of doubles. He's had quite a few RBIs. He's looked like the player we hoped he would start to show that he is. And if he can keep that up, it's another catcher in the system that could be a big league guy soon because his defense is supposed to be so good. It kind of lapsed earlier in the year, but he's always had an incredible defensive reputation.
Yes, agreed. And for me, I went into the season saying I just want to see the bat catch up a little bit because he did struggle at Tampa. He finished the season well. I think over his last 3 months he did hit 300, but overall I would say that he struggled at Tampa offensively.
Wasn't there an eye issue with him?
He did have an eye issue, and I think they fixed it by getting him glasses.
That's right. I remember that story now. Anybody else there we want to talk about?
I mean, if you want to bring up Spencer Jones, he
not really
did not have a good week. He did not have a good week. I think for the month of June, he's hitting 250. He hasn't hit a home run since May 16th.
No.
The strikeout rate is up at 34.5. He's just stuck in a slump almost a month and a half now.
Yeah, it's not pretty right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can't strike out that much and move up. So he's got to get those strikeouts better. He's got to take more walks. The plate discipline needs to improve. I think the plate discipline definitely has to improve if he's going to take the next step forward and eventually get to Somerset sooner than later. I do hope that it comes because, when he does make contact, it also makes a loud contact. Yeah. I read something where a scout said that he was either a boom or bust prospect, that he was either going to figure out the strikeout rate and live up to the talent, or he could still be in AA in 3 years, striking out 30% of the time.
I mean, I don't know. To me, that's a pretty broad take, because isn't that ultimately all prospects are, right? They're all boom or bust.
Well, exactly. It's prospects.
Yeah, it's they're all boomer bust. So I mean, it's not really telling me much. But I mean, we've seen what Spencer can do. We saw it at FCL, we saw it at Tampa. We saw it at the beginning of the season here. So I mean, we know he has the talent. We know where the
Oh,
ceiling
absolutely.
is.
There's no question on the talent.
Yeah, we know where the ceiling is. It's just a matter of him trying to figure out this new challenge that he's coming across.
Yeah. Tampa.
At Tampa, I think at Tampa the story has to be Jesus Rodriguez, who for this
Yes.
month is hitting 486, 525 OBP, 1228 OPS, 5 extra base hits, 2 home runs. He's got his average up to 301 now. Dude is just on. He's been on fire.
Yeah, he's been one of the most consistent players at that level all year.
I would say for June, I don't know. I wouldn't say all year, because he did struggle a little bit early on, but I would say maybe the last month and a half, he's been really, really good. The other guy that you have to mention for me was the prospect of the week at Tampa, which is Christopher Familia. I mean, since the guy came back, he has just been on fire. He's hit 375, 1357 OPS, 9 extra base hits, and 6 home runs. The guy has just been a machine.
Do you have a scouting? I mean, what's your scouting report on him? Because I haven't been as familiar with him as a lot of people.
I mean, I kept up with him at FCL a little bit last season, and he was very good at FCL last season. I think he hit like 297, 6 home runs, which was tied for the lead in the league, and then he got bumped up to Tampa. So I mean, I think he's a little bit older. No, he's 23. I think he's just like I've read that people have written that he's just one of those late bloomer guys. But like I said, I saw him at I kept up with him at FCL last season, and he hit well there. I was a little surprised that he didn't start the season with Tampa. But when I spoke to him about that last week, he told me that he had a minor injury prior to the season starting, and that's what took him so long to debut this year.
Oh, okay. How'd our boy Jared Serna look?
Last week, Serna kept doing what Serna does, right? He hit 310, 375, 5 extra base hits, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs. Dude is just a machine. I don't know what the holdup is. He should be in Hudson Valley already.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I think he hit. I see so much Altuve in him. The power. He hits like a third baseman, not a middle.
I told him that. I said that to him. I was like, "You hit like a third baseman, not a second baseman." But the guy has just been, he's just been consistent. He's just been consistent for the last 2 months and a half. Definitely should be a guy that's already been promoted.
He's got 20 something extra base hits, 24, 23, something like that.
23 extra base hits, 11 home run. I think 11 when I wrote this, but he might be at 12 now. 13 stolen bases. In the month of June, he's hitting 370 with a 431 OBP, 3 home runs.
He's just incredibly good bat to ball skills. The contact is incredible, and he's showing power with that. That's something that you don't see a lot from a guy 5'6", 5'7".
Yeah. I mean, I could see what you're saying about the Altuve comp. The guy just hits just like him at this level. And I really want to see him at everything.
Yeah. Ramirez
hit 313, 478, 1 extra base hit, 3 RBI, 6 walks, 2 stolen bases. And I always laugh about those stolen bases. I tell him that he's a catcher, he needs to stop stealing bases.
Yeah. Hey, Austin Wells runs pretty well, so maybe they're trying to develop him.
He does. He's sneaky fast. And the other guy that I did want to touch on down there is Brock Selvage, who to me has taken a step forward this season. In June, he's pitching to a 1.64 ERA, 11 innings, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 20 strikeouts. I think it's time to start talking about him joining that Hudson rotation.
You think he's going to be the one that goes up, or do you think Brendan Beck, now he's back?
Who?
Exactly.
Who?
I've been waiting for him forever, dude.
I mean, Beck has 3 innings to his resume in 2 years? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Beck. I wouldn't be surprised. It was a second round pick. It wouldn't surprise me. But I mean, I think, in my opinion, I thought Brock has earned it. He's been here. He's taken his lumps.
I would have no problem with Beck going to the Tampa rotation to start.
Yeah, I mean, you want to get him into the swing of things. You want to get him, stretched out a little bit. I don't know how much throwing he's been doing down at the complex.
I
Um,
wish I knew.
yeah, there's been nothing about him. I didn't even know
No,
that he was pitching until you told me. I was like, holy shit.
I didn't either, dude. I woke up. I've been asking everybody I knew where this kid was, and all of a sudden he's starting a game, and I'm like, holy cow. I messaged you, and I was like,
Yeah,
what's
you were like,
going
he
on?
exists. He's real. There's a
He
sighting.
exists. I have proof. Anyway, we didn't quite finish Tampa. There was a couple other guys there that were.
Yeah, the other guy I wanted to mention was Yorlin Calderon. This week, for me, he was the pitcher of the week. He threw 4 in the third innings, no hits, no runs, no walks, 7 strikeouts, and he's just another guy that should be getting the call to that Hudson bullpen soon to
Yeah.
join his buddy Luis Velasquez.
Now, do you want to touch on him?
I mean, he debuted last week. He threw an inning in the third, 2 strikeouts. He struck out the first 2 batters he faced. Pretty good debut for him. The dude was just phenomenal at Tampa. I think he pitched to like a 1.05 ERA, 21 innings and like 33 strikeouts, something like that.
Yeah. He's a legit relief prospect.
He's another one of those little guys. I think he's like 5'7", I believe, and can dial it up to 100.
Yeah, he can. He just, you would never expect to see that guy throw 100 if you look at him.
No, definitely not.
Do we want to touch on the FCL?
I mean, we could briefly touch on it real quick. For me, the player of the week at the FCL was Emmanuel Tejada, 438, 580, 591, 1404 OPS, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 5 walks, 4 stolen bases.
Wow.
I know we're both high on him. And yes, he's another shortstop in the system. He's another shortstop. He's been playing third base and DH so far in FCL though.
Yeah. And then what about Kiner?
Kiner 333, 538, 1094 OPS, 2 extra base hits, a home run, and 8 walks. He loves those walks. 4 stolen bases as well.
Yeah. Those two can handle the bat so well. They're in the Cerna category for me as far as bat to ball skills.
Maybe it's because they're so short. That's why.
Yeah. Anybody else on the FCL?
Willie Montero had a really good week. He hit 533, 2 extra base hits. I have him down for 5 RBIs, and he hit me up this morning. He was like, "You stole an RBI from me." I really like Montero.
Nothing like hearing it from the source.
Yeah, I really like Montero. He's an 18-year-old kid, 6'4", 190. I mean, he's just built like a center fielder. Coming into his power as well. Another guy, Hans Montero, who has surprised me so far. He hit 333, 4 extra base hits, 2 home runs, including a grand slam, and 6 walks.
And he was a big dollar signing. They had high expectations for him 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think they signed him for about 2.1 million, something like that was the signing bonus. And after his first 2 seasons in the DSL, let's just say they didn't go how he would want them to go.
You think?
But at FCL, he has surprised. He has surprised me, especially with power.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a good prospect. Do you see any Kevin Alcantara in him?
Definitely not, because I think he's another one of those short guys, and yes, he's another shortstop as well.
I thought you were talking about the center fielder.
No, I was talking about Hans.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Willie. Sorry.
There's 3 Monteros on that team.
My bad.
But yeah, Alcantara, that's a pretty good comp to Willie Montero. They're both like the same size. I would say Willie's probably a little more filled out.
It's hard to be as thin as Alcantara. The guy's a beanpole.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You also had Ryan Harvey, who debuted this week. He went 4 2/3, 1 run, 4 strikeouts. My boy Carlos Lagrange, 4 innings. He's pitching today. I believe he's pitching today. That's what he told me. He threw 4 innings last week, 6 strikeouts. Jordan Mendoza also debuted, 3 innings, no runs, 5 strikeouts. Just waiting for Henry Lane to debut as well.
Yeah, I can't wait to see him. Another big, tall guy.
Yeah.
Arias didn't have the best week, but everybody will want to know about him.
He started off well. I think he still leads the team in RBIs. He leads the team in RBIs after the first week with 7 RBIs. I believe he did hit a grand slam in the second game.
Yeah.
So you're starting to see more power come from him. And I mean, to me, I'm just happy that he's healthy. And then
that's all on the roster
on opening day. That he's in the lineup on opening day. The rest will just come. I'm pretty sure of it.
Let's run through a couple guys at the DSL and we'll get out of here.
All right. You had Brando Maia, who debuted. Of course, he got hurt. He hasn't been in the lineup since.
Have you heard anything about him?
No, I was gonna hit him up today. Just to see, what was going on, or if he was gonna be in the lineup anytime soon, because he hasn't been in the lineup since that first game.
Yeah.
Outside of him, Gabriel Lara, who was another one of their big IFA signings, had for me the player of the week. He had 438, 4 extra base hits, and he did hit a walk-off 3-run home run in one of the games.
Really?
Yeah. And you also had who else? You also had Chaliel Arias, who yesterday I believe he threw 4 and 2/3.
That's the guy that you sent me the video of.
Yeah, yesterday he went 4 and 2/3. Think he threw no earned runs. He gave up 2 runs, but they were unearned, and 9 strikeouts. The week before that, he had struck out 9. So in his first 2 starts, he's at 10 and 2/3 innings, no earned runs. I think 2 walks and 21 strikeouts. So he's off to
He doesn't have the most dominant. Oh, I'm sorry. He doesn't have the most dominating stuff, but it comes out of his hand real well.
I think his breaking I think his breaking stuff is what does it for him. He sets it up really well.
Yeah, he does. It's really remarkable how well he sets that up for how young he is.
18-year-old kid.
Yeah, he'll be a good
one. You also had Jerson Alejandro, who was the other big pitching signing on International Signing Day. He also debuted to 4 shutout innings, 4 strikeouts. I think he's on Baseball America number 26, I want to say.
I think you're real close. What about the catcher that's there?
Which one?
The one that they signed last year that they're so high on that Baseball America has.
You're talking about Anglet Arena. He's
yes.
actually hurt right now. He's hurt.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, he's on FCL though.
Oh, they sent him right to the FCL?
Yep.
Wow.
I said the same thing when I saw that. Yeah, that's the same thing I said when I saw it. I was like, what? Okay. But yeah, he's hurt right now.
What else we got coming from you this week?
Well, the last guy I wanted to mention was Omar Gonzalez, who did debut this season. 2 and 2/3 scoreless innings and 6 strikeouts. Another guy that I'm really high on.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the only guys at DSL.
There'll be more when they get going. There's a lot of talent at those 2 levels.
Both of those DSL teams are undefeated and they're facing each other today.
Really? I haven't been checking the DSL score box. I need to do that more. What else we got coming from you this week?
Nothing much. Pretty much the same thing, I should say. I do have a video for Jared Turner's home runs. He sent them to me a couple days ago. I still got to cut that, but it's basically he's 11 or 12 home runs that he's hit this season. So I'm just going to splice them all into one video.
Nice. I'm going to have an article about the top 6 pitching prospects, in my opinion, in our system that I'm going to drop in the next couple days. And then just recapping the games at night. So, Los, it's always a pleasure, bud.
All right, then.
All right, bud. See you later.
Later, guys.